Good evening. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Tonight's topic, the Betty White Challenge and the Nashville Humane Association. They're expecting donations in her memory. But if you're not really into the monetary donations, they actually have a wish list. So, Kenneth, is that one of the Amazon wish list, or how does that work?
Exactly, the Amazon wish list. So if you go to our website, NashvilleHumane.org, and you click on wish list, there are always items that we could use in the shelter. And just off the top of my head, for example, paper towels, or bath towels, or pepperoni treats, or begging strips, and treats for cats, or canned cat food. Like, these are items that, you see at the grocery store all the time, or they're in your closet right now. We'll take gently used towels. Don't care what color they are. The dogs don't care. The cats don't care. It's all good. And you can just bring them to the shelter. We've got bins located right outside our front lobby that are available between the hours of 9 to 4 every day of the week. So, you can do contactless drop-offs if you'd like, or you can come in and bring them into the shelter and let us know you made the donation. But we rely on that so much. And, just thank you very much. And it just goes back to the community. It goes to the animals in the shelter, and we can't thank you enough for any kind of donation that you give in honor of our animals.
So right now, is your biggest need, would you say, volunteers or some item, and maybe explain how volunteering works? So can you just show up to the shelter and volunteer? Do you have to go through training?
Okay, so if someone would like to be a volunteer at Nashville Humane Association, again, I keep on saying going to the website, but you go to the website and nashvillehumane.org/volunteer, and there's a nice description of what volunteers do at the shelter and what would your interest be. Once you figure that out, submit a volunteer application. That'll go to our volunteer coordinator, and then from there, you will be set up for orientation, whether it be with cats, whether it be with dogs. There will be a lead volunteer that knows all the ropes, that's there to answer questions, that's going to take you and tour you through the shelter, show you the do's and don'ts and safety precautions. And then once you finish your orientation, then you may volunteer at the shelter on your own schedule. And just come in, whether you're a dog volunteer or a cat volunteer, and just do your thing and help us socialize with the animals. And we can't thank our volunteers enough. We've got about, right now, 1,000 volunteers that we know that we can rely on, and about 300 to 400 that, come in every month and either help out at the shelter or help out at events. So it's wonderful. They're like the extra staff that we don't have, and we rely on them just coming in every single day, and we love it. I mean, they're part of the family too.
For potential adopters who maybe never had an animal before, it could be pretty overwhelming. Do you have any tips or tricks for people who are thinking about adopting a cat or a dog?
Oh, yeah, we've got a lot of literature at the shelter for people if they want to sit in the lobby and read, what to expect with your first adoption. We've got adoption counselors that work up front, as well as our animal care staff, who will one-on-one with the people, walk with them. What is it that you're looking for? What kind of home are you in? And then from there, because our team knows the animals so well, it's just like, hey, I'm just going to use his name again. Hey, well, you want to come meet Cooper? Or, are you more interested in starting in a puppy? So, it's what you're looking for. Or do you have a busy lifestyle where you'd love a pet, but you really don't have time to walk? Well, let's bring you over to see a cat or a kitten. So, we just try to find out what people are looking for, and then from there, match them with the perfect animal.
On that note, I know you said Cooper was 7. So do you guys sometimes see the seniors at the shelter longer because less people want them? Or do you think people have started opening their hearts more to a senior dog?
You know what? That's a good question. My heart always goes out to the seniors. I feel bad for any animal that's in a shelter, but I know they're going to find a home. But in my mind, it's okay, senior goes to the top of the list. They're a little bit older. They might be like, why am I here? But no, you're right. People have realized that, he's only 7 years old and he's a smaller dog. There's a lot more years left in that boy. And the fact that you're going to adopt someone that's already housebroken and isn't going to, chew on anything that he or she shouldn't have. But, to get someone that already knows is moving ready, basically. That's the real benefit when it comes to a senior dog. And I think they also know. They get it. You're like, you saved me. You're my person. I'm never going to forget this. I'm going to be a good boy or girl.
I definitely believe that. So my dog Duchess, we didn't get her at a shelter, but she was surrendered at a local vet's office. It was like super random, but in a more rural area. And that was how we got her. And I was so nervous. I was like, if we're her third family, I'm like, what if she hates us too? But then she was just like so happy, I think, to not be living at the vet's office. She just was so well behaved. It was wild.
Yeah. Yeah. One of mine that I adopted, about 5 years ago, his name was Luke, and he was a 10-year-old Jack Russell mix, and I was his fifth home. So it's like, and I promised him, I'm like, dude, this is your last home. And, and he knew it. He was just a grumpy old man, but I loved him for it. But yeah, they know. And your dog knew too.
It seems like in the South, we have a much bigger animal population. I know in the North, they have a lot of tighter laws with breeding and things like that. But talk about how important donations are for the Betty White Challenge now, especially because the South just seems to have a lot more shelter pets.
I mean, we do. And what's so great about the Betty White Challenge is that it's just going to be bringing money into shelters like Nashville Humane Association that we weren't expecting. And all the donations that we get, it goes right back to the animals. It goes for their vet care. It goes for feeding, it goes for treats. It goes for whatever they need. So we're just very thankful that this movement is happening and that people are, it sounds like people are really planning on donating that day. So keep those fingers crossed that it's an amazing Monday.
So for people who want to share it on social media, are they just doing like hashtag Betty White Challenge, go to the Humane Society, or what trends are you seeing online?
Well, it's amazing. It's taken a life of its own. And when it first started, it was just like, what's going on? And we really haven't been promoting it that much because everyone else has been doing it. So, we have talked about it on social media. And as we get closer to Monday, there will be more reminders that it's coming up. But it seems like the community is doing it for us. Like people are talking, donate to your shelter, just donate to your favorite shelter. And we're really looking forward to what this day may bring to the animals that are in our care today, tomorrow, and beyond.
What have you all seen with the pandemic and animal adoption? I know I've heard of several different trends.
You know what? Our adoption numbers, it was rough at first because, you remember when Nashville and everywhere else just shut down. So that's when our fosters came into play and all the animals that were in our facility all moved to foster homes for that, for that whole lockdown period. And then we started doing adoptions online. The way that you and I are talking, fosters were Zooming with people that were interested in dogs because we still had all their photos and profiles up on our website. And, adoption still happened. And our adoption numbers, believe it or not, they really did not falter during the pandemic. They stayed steady. And I think people really realized we're in a different time right now. We're spending more time at home. You know what? I do have time to dedicate to a four-legged family member, and you realize how much love they give back to you. And it's just, we're lucky that, people have been adopting it and it hasn't stopped.
I love hearing about the quarantine puppies and then work starting to bring people back. And they're like, where is my human? Like, what is happening? Do you have any tips for those people?
Yeah, you do have to worry about that. The animals did get used to us being home all the time. And so, there was some separation anxiety going on, and it's just, keep the TV on for them, let them know, practice on your days off that you go out the door and then you come back in, and just try to make them really comfortable. I know, like personally with my dogs, like Mondays are always the hardest day of the week for them, because that's the day that daddy goes back to work and they've had him all weekend long, taking care of them and being his servant, being the servant. And then that's the best greeting when you come home that day. But they get used to it. But like, I know I keep TV on, and if not the TV, the radio, always some sort of background noise for them.
Are you guys full right now, or are you guys kind of like shuffling animals to foster homes, or what's your like general average capacity?
I mean, we can keep it like an average number. We can hold about 200 to 300 animals at one time. We don't have that amount right now, but our adoption floor is full. We've got so many dogs and puppies that just moved up to the adoption floor today, and we are expecting a transport of cats in the next couple of days. If you come to our cat showroom right now, there's just about 2 cats in there, but there will be more. We've reached out to shelter partners, and so we're taking in cats. So there's always a really nice selection of pets at the shelter. When people come in, are you looking for a large dog? Are you looking for a fluffy cat? Are you looking for a kitten? Are you looking for a puppy? Like 9 times out of 10, we're gonna have what someone is looking for. And if that person's not looking for that dog, someone else is gonna come in and that's the perfect dog for them or cat.
I know Nashville has just grown like crazy. Have y'all ever thought of like having to expand your capacity, or I don't know, rebuild somewhere? I know in Williamson County, I was just there because they're about to unveil this like massive facility out there.
Yeah, that facility is amazing. I can't wait one day to go out and tour it because I've just seen pictures and it just looks gorgeous. We have talked about expanding. There is definitely a need to expand, and it's gonna happen. It'll happen eventually. We're growing, and I know that our facility right now it can't go up, can it go out? We are figuring out what can we do. I know, and when it happens, gonna look really forward, and I'm gonna make sure you guys are there for a tour.
All right, I want to hear more about the puppies that just came out on the adoption floor. Did you say, were they Mastiffs?
They're Mastiff mixes. And so they're roly, they're poly. They got these little fat, chubby feet that they don't really know how to walk on yet. The smushed in faces, and they're just gorgeous, but you just know they're going to be so big. But one thing fun about big dogs is that big dogs, they get lazier quicker. Like they're just like, I want to be on the couch with you too. So, but they're just, you can't help but fall in love when you see their smushed little faces. You should come see them.
Yeah, I want to see some pictures on social media for sure. Do you guys have like pretty strict COVID protocols now that I know we've been in this wave of cases of better and now they're worse, or, for people who might want to visit, but maybe they're a little bit scared or hesitant. What are you guys doing to make people feel safe?
Okay, if I was at work right now, I would have a mask on my face. All NHA employees, all NHA volunteers are required to wear masks. We just changed the protocol that people that are visiting us, they have the option. And if they feel that they walked in and they're not wearing a mask, but now they want one, we have masks available for them. But we are trying to make people feel as safe as, they want. And it's just hard every day that things change with the pandemic. So we're just like going with the flow. And this is what we're doing today.
I know it's probably hard to say, but with the Betty White challenge, I mean, how did her love of animals originate? Do you even know?
I don't know how it originated, but I from what I've read, from what I've heard about her, it's always been there. She's always been an advocate for the animals that don't have a voice. She's been that voice. And she's one of those celebrities that, sometimes animal people, they're often in their own little world. And she was an animal person, yet she was a celebrity. So she used them both together and just was able to be that voice. Like there's this one picture that sticks out in my mind. And I don't know if it was I feel like it was even before Golden Girls, and it might have been even before Mary Tyler Moore, where she's holding a baby orangutan. And it's just the sweetest picture ever. And it's just the love in her eyes and then the love in this baby's eyes. It's like it didn't matter. Any animal, she wanted to help.
Love it. Post holidays and heading into spring, is this a time when you see adoptions like pick up, or is there a lull?
I mean, December is is always like our busiest adoption month. And once the weather starts getting nicer, the answer is yes. More people are going to realize, hey, it's not dark and cold out anymore. I want to spend more time outside. And who wants to spend time outside with you? Your pet, especially your dog, and or maybe it's just like, you know what, I really want someone to cuddle with on the weekends. I need a cat. But yes, as the weather gets nicer, as there's more daylight, we tend to see more adoptions happening, especially on the weekends. Like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are just our busiest days. People have time to come by and visit and spend time and adopt.
I know sometimes in the rescue community, it can be kind of discouraging to see some of those pets that are just stuck there. And in the commercial break, I think we were talking about on TikTok, how shelters will like post like, oh, this is one of my long-term residents. And then it's like sad music of how long they've been there. Do you have any long-term residents other than Cooper who you'd want to see get adopted?
We lucked out. I'm going to talk about Coco now, who was a 7-month-old chocolate lab mix. An amazing dog. He'd been with us for maybe almost 3 months. So that's pretty much a long time at Nashville Humane. And for whatever reason, this guy was not getting adopted. And he was sweet. He was personable. But there was just something about, he just didn't have the right manners. And so you would get him outside and he would be so excited and he would just be a puppy like, I'm out. And he would just didn't know how to walk on a leash. And so people were just like, ooh. And then he went back into his room. What helped him out is that he then went to a foster home where we then learned more about him, and he went to a foster home with another dog. And being with this other dog, he was able to burn off that energy. And then he learned how to walk on the leash thanks to that other dog. And with him being in a home environment, getting so much more attention than being in a shelter. And he finally got adopted earlier this week. And so it was just like, yes, Coco, way to go. But you do feel sad for them, but it's just, you just keep on promoting them and finding out, okay, what's going to be the best home for you. And eventually you're going to find the right person. So to the person that adopted Coco, thank you very much.
So being in the nonprofit business and, relying on donations to operate, I mean, that can be pretty intimidating sometimes.
We're always asking for something. But what's wonderful about that is that the community is always willing to give. It doesn't matter, every once in a while we'll do something like twice a month. We call it $5 Friday, and we'll either put out a plea on Facebook or on Instagram, and people will donate. And it'll go towards a specific, maybe it'll go towards an animal, or maybe it'll just go for something in general. But people are always willing to give, and we're just so thankful that the Nashville community is so pet orientated and they love their pets, and the fact that they want to give to our nonprofit and they support us. We're thankful every day. We really are. We're thankful being on here right now and, giving us this time to talk about the pets like Coco and Casanova and Cooper. And more.
Well, I'm obsessed with animals, so hey, they picked the right anchor tonight. We do have to go to a commercial break, but we'll be right back.
Okay.